Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to everyone who's out there. It's February the 5th. Sorry for being a little bit late. Middle school drop-off line. Y'all know how that goes. I'm trying my best. But nonetheless, I am here because Chris Connie had a town hall meeting last night. And I told you guys yesterday, I gave you guys the link, all that kind of stuff. I said, hey, make sure you guys tune into that and watch it because we're probably going to have some stuff to discuss about this tomorrow. And lo and behold, we do have much to discuss. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, because we are definitely going to get into some topics that are the main topic that's out there, which is where we're going to have to talk about the non-conference schedule and where Chris Connie stands on that and how that's going to impact Steve Sarkisian and your Longhorns going forward. All right. Let me do a quick retweet. I'm sorry that some of y'all had comments up here that aren't showing. But feel free to continue commenting here, and it'll come back up here, like Text Blonde and stuff. Some of you guys who were in here early, K Drag was in here early. Just make sure you keep commenting, and I make sure I want to get you guys in here. So Chris Connie, during his town hall meeting last night, he said a lot of things that I was really cool with. Okay, and he said a lot of things that you as a Texas fan should have been really cool and excited about, right? He talked about some of the projects that they have going on there, with some of the future projects as relates to a softball stadium. He started talking, a volleyball arena. He talked about one thing that people really liked. I meant a volleyball arena. I apologize. One of the things he really liked was the fan-friendly pricing for things. I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me see if I can put this up in this tab for you guys. If you did miss this, hold on, let me show it to you real quick. For those of you guys who go to the games, I know most of you guys go. I know Tex Blonde is a frequent person at the games. He mentioned fan-friendly pricing, right? And so for you guys who go to the games, hey, $3 on soft drinks, candy, popcorn, $4 on hot dogs, $5 on your Bud Lights, some other stuff that you guys have here. I don't see anything on his mixed drinks though. $6.50 on Corona Extra. So now I heard a lot of you people say, yeah, well, now do that for the Moody Center. Gosh, have y'all ever gone to an event well, I'm sure you are. It's a rhetorical question, right? I don't know if you've gone to an event at Moody. I've gone to concerts and stuff there. I'm like, man, let me drink in the parking lot because this is insane, right? But it's okay. I mean, you still go. We still go out there. You still try to go and enjoy yourself, right? And so, in any case, so he mentioned a lot of things. He talked about the budget. He talked about bringing back a spring game, which I didn't think they were going to do. It's always funny when they bob, they weave, and weave when they bob. And I was like, oh man, they're bringing back the spring game. And I have been an advocate for bringing back the spring game. And I was hopeful because of the transfer portal now being in January, you don't have to worry about, hey, it's like, are we going to lose a guy or anything to that effect, right? So I was pumped about bringing back the spring game, right? So there's so much that I heard. And I was like, yep, Chris, you're on it, Chris. Chris, I love it, right? And then he brought up the non-conference schedule. And Chris let it be known for at least 2 seasons, he's not going to make any changes. He said Ohio State, Michigan, we're going to play those games. And he didn't commit to anything past that, but he did make it known that, hey, when it comes to those non-conference games, we're going to play it. And it's a really interesting approach that Connie is taking as relates to the non-conference thing. Okay. We know this because there's several layers to this conversation. There's several layers to it. And we'll get into it and we'll unpack all those things, right? I think I think that like thievery, what thievery's saying is how some fans feel, right? Some fans say like thievery and the thievery. So glad CDC isn't afraid, like some people in this chat, regarding the out of conference schedule. And I think there is a thought process of we're not going to run away from Michigan and Ohio State. And there is some people who feel adamant that says, no, 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 no. We're going to play the top-notch teams. We're going to play the best. This is what we're going to do. We're in Texas, right? You beat your chest. You have your pride over that. And I totally understand that thought process. And I totally get where you're coming from. The challenge to the thought process, though, is when we start talking about the genesis of the non-conference schedule and how this thing occurred. Okay, the genesis of Texas going and playing these P4 teams, especially the elite of the elite, came down to this. It started with this. Texas had a Big 12 schedule that nobody was excited about. Okay? Nobody was excited about. No one was excited from a season ticket holder or an individual ticket holder that no one was excited about Kansas. No one was excited about K-State. No one was excited when West Virginia came to town, right? No, you weren't really pumped up about the teams that were in the Big 12. And so what happened was season ticket holders, we want a little bit more. So what happened was there came the thing of, okay, let's go ahead and bring in some of these premier teams, because now all of a sudden it's great for the season ticket holders and it's great for travel because people, a lot of you guys like to travel to games, right? So that's where you got, the USCs of the world. You guys remember the Sam Ehlinger stuff, right? That's where you got USCs, and that's where we had Notre Dame, and one game they won, one game they lost, right? You remember that's when they put, and then that's when you started seeing the schedules of LSU, right? That 2019 game that occurred. That damn it, Texas should have won, but nonetheless, but 20 that could have rewrote history. Damn you, Todd Orlando! Okay, never mind. I had to say it for you. I'm sorry. Flashbacks. Damn it, Todd Orlando! What are you doing? All right. So you have that, right? And then, of course, Texas then starts adding, before they get into the SEC, starts adding Georgia, Alabama, Florida to the schedule, right? Notre Dame. They're just loading up. And it was all basically because, hey, we need to have a way to sell these season tickets, okay? The challenge became when two challenges. Texas joined the SEC. At that point, especially with an 8-game schedule, it became easier for you guys to get pumped up about the games, right? Because now it's SEC games. Even, Vanderbilt was good, right? So even a few years ago, you meant like, I don't know, but you all you guys, me included, excited about the SEC schedule. And so that almost in itself took care of the need to have the quote unquote marquee games, because you're playing SEC teams. Georgia is going to be a marquee game, right? Ole Miss is Tennessee's, and you go through all that. That's marquee. Alabama, like this is marquee, right? So, but Texas decided we're going to still stay with it. Now, two challenges that have occurred. The first challenge is the SEC decides they're going to move to a 9-game conference schedule. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, snap, right? Woo! It's getting hot in here, right? Some Nelly stuff, right? It's getting hot in here, right? So now, all of a sudden, you're like, we went from 8 to 9. It's like, oh, okay. And now you enter this world where you got the 9-game conference schedule, and then you got the other game, which is another P4 team, right? And so now all of a sudden it's like you got 10 really, really tough games. Really tough games. And you can say yourself, like the thievery said, hey man, we're Texas. Play these teams. We don't give a damn. This is what we do. All we gotta do is just go out there and win these games, and we're good. And I hear that. Here's the challenge, though. And this is the issue. The real issue that I think Dokani, as much as I like him, but I have disagreed with him on this for years. He knows where I stand. He jokes with me about it. He understands it. And I'm going to see him in the spring meetings in Destin, and he knows I'm going to ask him about it. He knows me. We talk publicly and privately about this thing, okay? The thing is, where I think Chris Dokani is missing the boat, my opinion, is the committee, the playoff committee, is not rewarding the risk of playing that tough non-conference opponent. And that is the rub. That is the issue, is that the committee themselves have been telling us for the past couple of years, very consistently, even though we don't like it and we don't agree with it, and we can call them all kinds of names. What the committee is saying is, and has told us, is your strength of schedule stuff is cute. If you want to go out there and play those games, knock yourself out. But if you lose it, we're going to penalize you. What? If you lose it, we're going to penalize you. Wait. So you're saying if we go out and lose to Ohio State, that we're probably going to get penalized? Yep. Wait. So you're saying if we just have 3 cupcakes, as Dokani would call them, 3 cupcakes, that would be better? 3 cupcakes wins are better, or non-conference wins are better than a loss versus like an Ohio State? We took the risk. These people aren't even taking the risk. And you know what the committee is saying in their thinking? What they've been telling us consistently? Yeah, The committee is not even weighing strength of schedule in the way that they said they were going to do it before the season, and totally pivoted and went against their word during the season. It's what 2 years ago, we saw what happened when there were 3 9-3 SEC teams. And people thought to themselves, well, it's Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. And you thought, okay, well, one of those teams are going to have to make it in, right? I mean, it's 9-3, but I mean, come on, man. Like, it's the SEC. You know, and they said, Alabama, you can stay home. Ole Miss, you can stay home. South Carolina, you can stay home. And you think, but the schedule. And the committee is like, oh man, we ain't thinking about no schedule. What schedule? That, I mean, if you want to, you're the one in the SEC, y'all, you're doing it. And so we saw last year where Texas had a strong argument. John Bianco, some of his best work, be honest with you, this is not sarcasm, by the way. John Bianco, SID at Texas, I think some of his best work, which was he was pounding the pavement damn near every day, multiple times a day, pounding the pavement, saying, these are the reasons why Texas should be in the playoffs, putting out one stat, one nugget, something to really show you this, showing you what the committee said, all those kind of things. And you know what the committee said? Not to John Bianco, but to Texas. Oh, that's cute. But you know, you guys got 3 losses though. And it's like, oh, and then it really, and you can say, well, what about the wins versus Kentucky, and you could say, well, that was a close win against a bad team, and Mississippi State was a close win, and you can always argue the Florida loss. I think maybe the Florida loss was the detonator, but at the end of the day, maybe that was. The question becomes, okay, if they beat Ohio State, but then they have the other two losses, and I know we're in the if game, right? And I know if my uncle didn't have blah blah blah, he'd be my aunt, right? I get it, right? But there's still does a 10-2 team potentially make it in if they beat Ohio State? Probably, even with the Florida loss, right? But then the Ohio State loss then works against you, and then you start talking about records. Vanderbilt, shit, they were 10-2. They didn't make it in. And where I disagree with Del Conte, and this is where I disagree with a little bit with the thievery, but respectfully disagree, okay? And thievery, I'm not picking on you by any stretch of the imagination, right? I think a lot of people think things like you, and we could all agree to disagree, right? But it's also respectful, right? So just thievery, I just wanted you to know, like, I'm not like adding you or just like trying to say any talk shit to you or anything like that, okay? But the challenge to what is happening is that if this committee is not going to reward the risk, the question becomes, why are you making it harder? Why are you working harder and not smarter? If the committee is telling you, you can do this, you can do it if you want to, but we're not going to reward you for that. We'll reward you if you win. We're not going to give you anything, any measure of grace to say that you played that game. And so, yes, teams are realizing, why the hell am we even taking this risk? What's the purpose? Why are we even doing this? You're seeing teams across the country saying, shit, I don't even know if we should even schedule this P4 stuff. What's the purpose? And you can say to yourself, nah, man, it's Ohio State, it's Michigan. You gotta play those teams. And look, they're taking the risk too, right? So it works both ways. But we know if Texas loses versus Ohio State in week 2, we know at that point Texas can only have one more loss, regular season loss, and to make the playoffs. And then after that, it's done. We know that 9-3 won't get you in. 9-3 won't get you in. Now, what Del Conte said, he's banking on at some point the playoffs expanding, right? Expanding to 16 teams. The thing is, they're not expanding this year. They had the opportunity to expand this year, but they did not expand. We're at 12. We're at 12, by the way, with a group of 5 team getting in this year, right? And Notre Dame, as long as they're ranked, top 10, something like that. I got to look it up. You guys can look it up for me. As long as Notre Dame, I think, is the top 10 rankings, top 12 rankings, something to that effect. It's somewhere in that number. Someone look that up for me and let me know. Notre Dame gets an automatic bid. Well, we know Notre Dame doesn't always go out of their way. Let me look at Notre Dame's schedule before some Notre Dame fan tries to say stuff, because Notre Dame, let's see what Notre Dame 2026 schedule looks like. Let's see what Notre Dame, what risk Notre Dame is playing. Let's see. Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan, Purdue, North Carolina, Stanford, BYU, Navy, Miami. Okay, so they got Miami on the schedule again. Boston College, SMU, and Syracuse. So we know Notre Dame probably gets in, right? So the challenge now becomes it's almost like you got like 10 spots. And now I believe the thing they voted on, it says the 4 conference champions. Of course, they always get in, right? 4 conference champions get in, or they usually get in. It's going to be automatic. So if you got 4 conference champs, and then you got a group of 5, so that's 5. And you got Notre Dame. right? 4, 5, 6. That leaves what, 4 spots? Is my math right? That leaves 6 more spots. At least 6 more spots. Excuse me. My math is wrong. So that leaves only a little bit. The problem is the margin of error. We're not, I'm not talking about shying away from games and saying we don't want to play that. I'm saying, why are you working so hard? Why is it? You guys know I live in like North Austin, Cedar Park, right? If the best way for me to get downtown is to hop on 183 and then go to hit 35 and then go from there, why the hell would I get on 620, go all the way up to 45, take the toll road, go all the way around the Tesla place, right? Hop off of what, 71 or something and come all and like, I'm gonna hit that. Yes, I could do that, but why would I? Why would I do that? And I get the thought process when people say, well, you should play tough competition. It's cool. Don't shy away from the tough competition. Can I also say this to those folks? You know where else you can play tough competition? The playoffs. You know where you can play tough teams in the playoffs? Yeah. Yeah. You can play tough teams in the playoffs and you can meet them there. At the end of the day, Indiana, and I know when we say Indiana, it's like, it's kind of a trigger word, right? But at the end of the day, all we know is this, and all we care about is this. Indiana won a national championship. That's all we say. And we know that Indiana was actually a damn good football team. You know what we don't talk about in the all season? Indiana schedule. I don't hear anybody saying, yeah, man, Indiana won a national championship, but did you see their non-conference schedule? Said no one. And guess what? Even if you say it, even if you say, oh, Indiana took, I think it was NC State off the schedule, and they don't have P4 teams scheduled. You know what? You know what happens at the end of the day? Ain't nobody care. Nobody cares. Why? Because they won. That's the thing. Like, they won. And what Indiana has figured out that Texas has not figured out yet is that the only thing that matters is getting to the playoffs and creating an easy path to make it there. The easiest path. And you know what? The SEC is hard enough. That's the thing. It's not like Texas is like, well, we're gonna be independent and we ain't gonna play nobody. And we're just gonna schedule a bunch of G5 teams to see if we can make it. You're still in the SEC. You still got tough competition, but continuing down this road, it's going to be a tough road. It just makes the road tougher. We will know when Texas plays against Ohio State. We all know what the stakes are. We will know. And we will know. Now, look, we want Texas to win. You want Texas to win, right? That's the ideal, right? Arch goes out. There's some revenge that happens, some belt to ass. It's all good, right? Texas goes out and they win. Perfect scenario. Like that. Love that. We want that. And then it's one of those, but what happens if it doesn't happen? And then what happens if it doesn't happen is now you put yourself in a situation that you put yourself in last year. We know the SEC is tough. And we know even the quote-unquote sorry teams can still rise up. So, call them sorry if you want to. Florida, Kentucky, these teams, they can still rise up. Mississippi State, they can still get with you. Don't sleep on. You can't sleep on them. Sleep's hard enough. Now look, it's a couple things. If Delcani can't say the quiet part out loud, then I'll understand. If he just can't say, look, y'all, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Hey, We went to Ohio State. We went to Michigan. And guess what? They made money off of Texas. So you know what? Ohio State and Michigan, we need to make some money off of them. I got bills to pay. I got bills to pay. Did you see all these slideshows that I showed you? That stuff costs money. So you know what? I hear what y'all are saying, but guess what? We made a contract, and in part of that contract, I thought to myself, okay, they're going to make some money, and then we're going to make some money. And guess what? Now it's time for us to make some money. I ain't backing out of making money. Now, if that's the quiet part that he don't want to say out loud, that's logical, and that makes sense, and I understand it. I get that. I get that. But if it's not about the money, and listen, we all understand, but everybody got bills to pay, right? Sometimes if people show up at jobs they don't love because they all got bills to pay, right? So if it's just about paying the bills, because look, these facilities ain't gonna pay for themselves. We need the money. The apartments need the money. We got sports that don't generate revenue, so we need the money. We need the money from the parking. I ain't gonna. If Chris Del Conte said, "Look, I can schedule Rice, but I ain't gonna make as much money off of Rice as I am going off Ohio State and Michigan," then boom, got it. Who can argue with that? That's the day you tell, hey, the concession stand prices I told you about? Yeah, we're going up on that one. Is it easier to, over the next couple of years, raise season ticket prices with those teams that are out there to make more money? Absolutely. If it's for the parking, makes more money, ticket sales, season tickets, individual tickets, concessions, all of that, more money, TV, whatever the case may be, sponsors. If it's about the money, then it's about the money. It just is what it is. The hard part, though, becomes, okay, it's tough. But you guys are this is, and I don't mean you guys. I mean Texas is saying, willingly signing up and saying, all right, we're just going to do it the hard way. We're going to do it the hard way. All right. Well, what does the hard way look like? This is what the hard way looks like. So while other teams are stacking wins, this is what the hard way looks like. Look at the schedule for next season. You got Texas State and UTSA as your guaranteed wins. Got Ohio State sandwiched in between that. And then you've got Arkansas, A&M. This is not in order, by the way, because A&M's towards the end of the year. So this is not in order. Just so we're clear. I'll get my producer to get me a better schedule, but this has all the future stuff. So just you look at this upcoming season. Arkansas, don't know what to expect out of them. A&M is always going to be a tough team. Oklahoma, I joke about them, but it is a rivalry game. You got Florida. Don't have no clue what they're going to look like this year. Ole Miss. That again, I thought Florida would have been bad last year. So what the hell do we know? Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Then at LSU, which we know will be a night game. It's towards the end of the season. That'll be a night game. At Missouri, at Tennessee, probably a night game. And then 2027. So you're going to keep that. And now 2027, that is a potential rebuild. When you look at Arch would be gone, maybe Cam Coleman's gone, Ryan Wingo's gone, Trevor Goosby's gone, right? Brandon Baker might be gone. You go down the list, Colin Simmons gone, right? There's going to be a lot of losses after that. Then you go, at Arkansas, which we know is just always a weird place for Texas to play. A&M is back here, Oklahoma, of course. Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, Bama, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. That in itself is a gauntlet. 2027 is I don't even want to look at that. I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about 2027, quite honest with you. I don't want to think about Texas having to do a roster turnover, new quarterbacks, all those kind of things, and then facing that schedule. I think 2028, 2029, if I was a betting man, I my actually I am a betting man. I take it back. It's kind of a dumb statement. I play prize picks all the time. So I guess that's betting in some way. Um Notre Dame, I don't think Texas plays those games. I think Notre Dame gets canceled at some point. Um, I think it would. I think Crystal County would hate it. I think he would hate losing the potential revenue there, but I would be surprised. And ATX Banks, I do see a super chat, so um, I do see a super chat. ATX Banks. So the Notre Dame game, I think I assume it get canceled. Now look, I don't know who's sexy enough to put in there that you would say you can make the money back. But it's tough when it's about the money, but then it's like, okay, well, it's cool. Well, you got the money, you're going around this hard road. And again, when you see everybody else taking a much easier path, it's just like, okay, all right, but buckle up. You gotta be ready. ATX Bates, let me get your super chat here. Let me go, my man. ATX Bates. You know what? What is ATX Bates though? What company is this? Is this a company? Is this? I've always wondered. Like, do you have like a bait trap company or something like that? Like, I always wondered. All right. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sidebar. Anyway, interesting. Oh, I mean, I know the word, but the just I don't know. I can't. Anyway, interesting. Stump me. I don't use this word a lot. Texas have. I know what it means. It's like to stance in your position, right? There's this expectation. Hey, it's a human moment here. It's I think it's juxtaposition, justification. I don't know. Anyway, that is this expectation of 16 and 0, or else it's a fail. But got to get rid of these marquee games that everyone loves to watch slash attend. A loss gives CDC ammo to expand the CFP and beyond. I don't think a loss gives CDC any ammo as relates to expansion, because the committee and everybody else is basically saying we're going to do our own thing. And what other programs are saying, ATX Bakes, is simply that, okay, well, this is what the committee is going to do, then we're just going to get there. I don't think it gives him ammo. I don't think it gives him ammo because he can't all by his own make a change. He can't. That's not his call. And again, if there was ammo to be had, well, Texas would have been in the playoffs last year, right? But what did the committee say? Cool that you guys played that tough schedule. Cool that you did all those things, right? But you guys got 3 losses. So we're just going to focus in on the teams that we like at that 10-win mark. That ATS best right now, the committee's saying we're not going to consider you if you have less than 10. Now, we can talk about the expansion thing, but there's the expansion won't necessarily happen as relates to because of 9-3 teams per se. The expansion is going to happen, one, because there's going to be more money to be made. Full stop. Okay, it's not the expansion is not going to occur because, oh well, we need to do the right thing. Let's just be honest. When they can figure out the problem, we don't have expansion right now is that they talked about 16, but then somebody else wanted 24, and the SEC was not. Greg Sankey wasn't really down to 24, and so because they couldn't agree, that's why we find ourselves where we are. where basically now we're still stuck at 12 until they can kind of come to some sort of agreement as to what that final number should be, or should it be incrementally, or what, all these kind of things. So I don't think CDC has that kind of ammo. I do think, though, that what CDC is doing is he's doubling down on Texas and the schedule with the hopes that it's almost like he wants the committee and the commissioners and all these kind of things to make his life easier. He wants them to do the dirty work so he doesn't have to. Because if they expand to 16, then I don't have to eliminate anyone from the schedule and have people say stuff to me about it. Everything could just work its way out. So that's what he's saying. I hope this gets taken care of so I don't have to do it. I don't want to do it. I want to keep these games. But now he has to wait. And so that's cool. That's great for 2027 or 2028, right? 2029. I don't know that's not great for 2026. And I don't, and you know, last thing I'll say, and thievery again, I'm not picking on you, right? But the mentality of, okay, well, we played it best and that was cool. I mean, what did that mean to you when Texas was playing in the Citrus Bowl? Like, well, we played against Ohio State. Did that make you feel any better about not being in the playoffs? Right? I don't think that was a comfort for you at night. Like, hey, you know what? We could be in the playoffs, but it's okay. I don't mind the Citrus Bowl because we did play Ohio State. No, it didn't. And that's where I'm, you know what would make you feel good is just making the playoffs. This is how success is judged in 2026, 2025, 2024. It's about how do you make the play? Do you make the playoffs or not? If you don't make the playoffs, your season is just a season. And it's cool. And look, Texas got to 10. That's great. But look, we all know you don't make the playoffs. All these kids, they're getting the hell out of here. They're all hopping in the portal. The majority of them ain't sticking around. If there's not a playoff run to be had, they're gone. Staffs are gone. And everyone's playing this cool game, which, again, I liked it. Citrus Bowl was actually kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. Well, it wasn't the playoffs, but it was cool. So, in any case, if the goal is to make the playoffs, so what it is now all it is we know. Last thing we'll say, I keep saying last thing. It's been like 10 minutes ago. Is that we know the Texas task is the intentional one, and it's going to be tougher than anybody else, and that's what Chris Del Conte's okay with. And that's what he's okay with living that life. So what does that mean? It means Sark's got to find a way to start beating these marquee teams in these marquee matchups in order for Texas to make the playoffs. That's just the bottom line. And if you're telling Sark, hey, look, this is what I hired you for, you got to beat these teams. Sorry, I can't make it easier. Then, okay, cool. That's what Sark has to do. And this entire offseason has to be dedicated to creating a team. That's not to say it wasn't in past years, but creating a team that can withstand 10 just grueling games as opposed to 9. Okay, cool. That's Sark. Ball's in your court at this point. And by the way, Chino LV 32. That used to be a rapper. What was his name? Chino XL. Okay, but let's consider this. Thank you for not using big words. I went to public school in Lakeland, Florida, and you want me to say, what is it? Just position. I forgot how to say it. When I hear it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's that word. Okay, but let's consider this. Would you rather be battle tested or get bounced in game 1 because we ran through a cupcake schedule? This is where I disagree with you, Chino. This is where this is where I'll disagree with you. Okay. Because I heard somebody on Orange Bloods said the same thing. Can I say this? All right, let's do this. Let's do this exercise for me, Chino. And everybody in the chat, I want you guys to do this exercise with me. All right, you guys ready? Teams that I think, you talk about getting bounced in the first round. Here are the teams that I think Texas would have easily defeated in the first round of the 2025 playoffs. Last year's team. You ready? Tulane, correct. James Madison, correct. Texas Tech, correct. Texas A&M, we know we already beat them, right? Correct. Oklahoma. I just gave you 5 teams. You talk about getting bounced in the first round. Texas beats those 5 teams, I think, pretty easily. Maybe not easily, like not like double digits, but well, maybe by James Madison and Tulane, right? But the other team, and maybe Oklahoma. So maybe 3 out of the 5. Okay. So start with that. Okay. Now, Arch Manning in a rematch versus Ohio State. The Arch Manning that we saw towards the end of the season, rematch versus Ohio State. You think Texas wins that one? I'm not going to bet against Arch, and not the Texas that we saw. I think that's 6 teams that Texas could have beat last year. Now, the other teams I don't know about, my coin flip teams. Ole Miss, Oregon, Miami, Alabama. No, not quite sure. Could go either way for me. And the only teams that I would have thought Texas would have probably not defeated would be Indiana and Georgia, right? And so, but here's the thing, and I hear, even if you want to say, okay, battle tested, you know how you get your battles, Chino? In the SEC. It's 9 games. It's 9 games. Chino, if you ain't battle tested after 9 games, you probably don't belong in the playoffs. Was Indiana, quote unquote, battle tested? No, they just had a better team, right? But there is something to be said about that runway of that buildup, Chino, to say, you know what? Let's work out the kinks. Let me ask you this. What if Arch got to work out the kinks versus, instead of Ohio State last year, let's put in another team, put in whoever, put in a quality team, put in, I don't know, Minnesota. Let's just I'm just throwing out teams. Minnesota, Rutgers, if you want to go P4, right? Let's say Rutgers, Purdue. Let's not even go like super soft, right? Let's just say Purdue. And Arch got to work out some kinks versus that. What kind of Arch do you think we would have potentially have seen going forward? Right? So I hear you, but my thing is, the SEC is all the battle testing you need. You'll be fine. If you can't do the SEC schedule from September until late November, then you probably don't deserve to be in the playoffs. That part, right? So I hear you. And look, it is what it is. My opinion won't change anything. My opinion is my opinion. And opinions are like what? Right? So, but that's why I say, all right, well, you just got to win. It's going to have to beat these teams. That's just what it boils down to. It's just going to have to beat these teams. And, pride comes before the fall. And so it is what it is. So, hey, we'll have more conversations about this. This is a passionate one for me. You know why it's passionate? Last thing I'll say, I was passionate. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. This will be the last thing to say. I know. I feel like Catch. I just can't stop talking. The only difference is I'm not interrupting someone. Ah, I'm just I'm just there in my Amazon cart where Catch is talking. I'm like, oh, well, I should order this weekend, huh? Yeah, I like this shirt. You know why I want it? The thing is, it's for you guys, man. It's a good world where Texas makes the playoffs. It's a good world for you guys. It's a good world for me, a good team to cover, right? And I'm thinking more so about, hey, how can Texas make the playoffs and get into the playoffs? That's where my head's at. More so than any of these other things where I'm just like, well, there's the pride. You should play these teams. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, but man, that's not what this is about. This thing is about, oh, my hands itch. I'm gonna get some money. Ooh, that's some old folks thing. My hands itching. Oh, I got some money coming. I don't know. Is a super chat coming or something? I don't know what's going on. I just want Texas to make the playoffs. And when I see teams making their lives easier, I see Texas having a harder life. I'm like, man, can we change this around just a little bit? That's really my position on it. Just quite honest with you, like what can be done to make Sark's life easier. And sure, cool, play Ohio State, cool. That let's hope they win. Play Michigan. Let's hope they win because we know what the committee will do if they lose. And that's the thing I don't like. I don't trust the committee enough to continue doing this thing. But we'll see what happens. And we'll see what happens this season. Let me know what you think. Put your thoughts in the chat. Put your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. You cool with this? You still want to keep playing these games? Or do you want to say, you know what? We'll just remove this P4 thing. The SEC schedule is good enough. Let me know what you think there. All right, y'all. I went a little bit over, but I love talking to y'all. So, you know what I say? Go out there, have a special day. Go out there, have a good day. Live each day like it's your last, because one day it absolutely will be. So go out, have a fantastic day, enjoy yourself. I will be back tomorrow. We'll talk more Texas stuff, Super Bowl things, all kinds of things that's going on. All right. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. And I'll see you guys soon. Y'all take care. Have a fantastic